Hello everyone, Jew Godfather here. Sorry for missing the second episode last week. I had some things to deal with. But anyway, enough with that. Let's get started with the show, shall we? Last episode, I basically talked about how my name is the Jew Godfather and it was inspired by Jewish gangsters who beat the crap out of Nazis, which was cool, of course, and also inspired the name for the Kosher Nostra podcast, which is this podcast also, of course. So now, anyway, let's get on to what this podcast episode is about. Oh, by the way, I'll have the links to my sources posted on a Google document. That link to that document will be in the description below. Okay, let's get started. In today's episode, we will be talking about Nazis who escaped to North America. I have a total of 18 Nazis on this list. Now, to be clear, there were many more, but however, we will only be mentioning 18 in this episode, to save time, and yeah. Okay, now you're probably wondering how these Nazis escaped. Well, besides from people not caring, of course, after Nazi Germany's defeat in World War II, the U.S. government decided to collect the Nazi scientists, calling it intellectual reparations. During the final years of the war, these scientists were either of German or Austrian descent, and the project was approved by the President Harry S. Truman of North America. They also let in other Nazis who weren't even scientists or engineers as well, for various other reasons. I have links to as I said before, I have links to all of this on a Google document listed below in the description if you want to check it out for yourselves. Now, there were some figures who did oppose Operation Paperclip, like Albert Einstein, a Jewish theoretical physicist who managed to escape the Holocaust. Also, the North American diplomat, humanitarian, and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt also opposed letting in Nazi scientists as well. However, the North American government ignored them even defending letting in Nazis, since the Soviet Union had a similar project named Operation Oso Aviakim, which allowed Nazis in as well. The U.S. ignored that these Nazi scientists had participated in the Holocaust atrocities through the use of slave labor, human experiments, torture, and other horrible atrocities. They would also ignore this with other Nazis who weren't even scientists or engineers until it was finally exposed to the public eye. Approximately 1,500 Nazis from Austria and Germany would escape, and many others who weren't even engineers or scientists. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? Oh, quick warning, a lot of what I'm going to show and say will be disturbing and graphic. I will discuss them briefly each. Also remember, the document containing my sources is in the description below. I'll say that again. Okay, now let's get started with Nazi number 1, shall we? Okay, starting with number 1, let's go with Klaus Barbie, also known as the Butcher of Lyon. Barbie was a part of the SS and would become chief of the Nazi secret police, the Gestapo, in Lyon, France. He was responsible for the deaths of 4,000 people and the deportation of 7,500 Jews. Most of them would die in the concentration camp Auschwitz. Barbie would leave Lyon 1 month before the American forces would come to France in 1944. In 1946, the war ended and he was discovered by the U.S. Army Counterintelligence Corps. But instead of arresting Barbie, they decided to use him as an informant. So between 1947 and 1951, he gave American officials information about French intelligence as well as Soviet and anti-communist activities in the U.S. occupied zone of Germany. In 1951, the U.S. smuggled Barbie out of Europe to evade the authorities looking for him. He and his family settled in South America, Bolivia, where he would become involved in arms dealing and would also be involved in shipping as well, even having ties to Bolivia's army. In 1971, Nazi hunters Serge and Beate Klarsfeld identified Barbie, and when the Bolivian regime fell in 1980, he no longer had protection. So in 1983, Barbie was then arrested and taken back to France for trial. Barbie faced charges of war crimes, like the deportation of children to not only to the concentration camp Auschwitz, but also to the Ravensbrück camp, and along with many other crimes. His trial became a major public event, and Barbie would remain a devoted and unrepentant Nazi. The trial concluded in 1987, and while in custody, Barbie would die from cancer in 1991. So, in the end, Klaus Barbie, for all the horrible things that he did for the Nazi regime, he never really faced justice until later in his life, and he got to live for like a very, very long time and in freedom before he was arrested. He got to live a very long time, a lot longer than his victims did, and he really didn't suffer as much as he should have. This just came in. I have a special announcement to say. I hope you're all ready for it, and I hope you all understand. Look, everyone, for this being the second episode in the series, this is taking a lot longer than I expected with like the editing and everything. I mean, I'll try and see if I can break this up into parts. I mean, maybe it was because I was unprepared for this. I'm not sure. But for reasons I can't explain, I need to have this turned in already. And put on Spotify. Alright, so I'm gonna try and see what I can do to try and improve this. Anyway, next episode we'll be talking about Nazis who escaped in Argentina. Oh, and if you want to see more Nazis that escaped to North America, you can take a look down in the description below. As I said before, there's a Google document there who mentions more Nazis and has sources to them. I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't put all this into one single podcast. I mean, maybe we can break it up in the future into small parts. I'm not sure. But it's taking too long. So, anyway, I hope you all have a good night. Zygazut, and stay tuned for more.